Hey friends, I I had another day. I had another lesson. They keep on coming. I was playing around with my song today. I'm getting pretty close, which means pretty soon I can share it. And I did a little research. I went to Annalise's dance class and I had my iPad and I just watched a couple videos on how to do EQ adjustments and compression adjustments on the piano part and the vocal part, just because I don't really know what I'm doing there. And I was kind of, I mean, I get some of the principles, but I wasn't really sure what I should be doing. And I could tell that what I was doing, I was kind of shooting in the dark and it was not helping. I didn't like the result. So I learned a little bit, came home, started messing with it, started loving the result. And very quickly started to have almost as much fun with that as I had with the writing and recording process. Now, that's not quite fair because there's nothing like writing a new song. There's just nothing like it. But making adjustments to make it sound good and creating the right and doing that in the spirit of the song, understanding what to do to the piano part to bring it into the spirit of the song. In other words, this is a song that kind of like draws on English musical theater, like pre-American musical theater, operetta, the wordplay songs that of the Gilbert and Sullivan era, and so there's a certain kind of sound that goes with that, and once I kind of got that, once that penny dropped, I was finally like, oh, I'm not I'm not compensating for things that I feel like I didn't do well. Now I'm actually continuing the play. I'm continuing to creatively improve the effect and the ultimate impact of this piece. It's just it's part of the creative process. It's not a compensatory measure. And if you wonder why I'm saying that, it's because several days ago, or a few days ago, really just maybe 2 3 days ago, I shared a recording with my wife, and I had done some tweaking to it. But again, this is back before I'd done much research. Didn't really know what I was doing. And I could tell too that the way in which I had made the adjustments was it sounded like a cover up for errors in the recording process or in my own singing ability. And I went through several stages. I really took that to heart. And I went through several stages of revisiting each kind of layer of what I had done, and including the recording itself, the actual vocal takes, and looking at, well, which ones did I select and which ones had I selected before, and why did it feel like the new ones were compensating, and it just really kind of get going in deep. And I found that there was not a problem with the actual recording I had done. I found that it was the processing that I had done that was off. And so that's why when I came back to it today and I got a little more informed and I started again, all of a sudden it was like things were clicking, things were falling into place, and they were making it was part of the play. I turned it into part of the play. And that's when I knew, okay, I'm onto something here. Like I'm not just I'm not tweaking it. I'm not trying to make it. I'm not trying to compensate for anything. I'm trying to actually make this thing what it's trying to be, what it ultimately wants to be. And that's really fun. It's really fun. And it also kind of reframed for me how I had even gotten to the place that I was at before of feeling like, why am I compensating here? Like, what am I doing? I sort of really was able to understand like a different aspect of my own creative process. And it's funny how these things work because this is stuff I've done before. I've done recordings before. I've gone in and learned some of this stuff before, but then a couple of years go by and I forget it all. Or I at least don't. It doesn't go in deep enough to really stick with me. But it was very joyful to do this kind of play today. And I noticed a change in my sense of what the work is. I noticed a change in my way of relating to my daughter and her music. I think it's really important. They say, there's that horrible saying, those who can't do, teach. And I have found that not only to be untrue, but I've found that the people that I was most interested in what they do also teach it. That's just been my experience. The people who are truly great at something, and by that, in some ways, there's been also a pattern of, at least of people I've met and encountered in my life, where a lot of times the people who are the greatest, really truly the greatest at something, they sort of eschew any celebrity or any, not that they eschew recognition, but they sort of avoid glamorizing what they do, even if what they do is, music or show business, because for them it's about that depth, it's about that deep just rootedness in a craft that goes all the way to the core. And so to see myself digging deep into my own work again, which I haven't done in a while, and to see the effect that that has on the way I teach, both my students and my daughter. I also went to a music school today and just kind of poked my head in the door, and before I knew it, I was sitting down at a big conference table with the manager and the founder and having an interview about possibly teaching some students there. It was just walked into my life. And so it felt like a teaching door might be opening. And it was so hand in hand with the practice door. It's almost like the phrase should be, those who can do, teach. Those who can't do, don't teach. Those who can't do, pretend to do. Or those who can't do, exalt their doing. It's become there's a kind of, I've always been confused by that. I've always been confused by people who are truly great at something and don't want to teach it. Why not? What? Why? It's so fun. It's like the one of the coolest things. So, not to judge anybody for their doing or non-doing or teaching or non-teaching, but the people that I have always been most inspired by have been people who do and teach. And I'm finding that just affirming for myself, I guess, or rediscovering that they go hand in hand for me. And as I do, I also am inspired to teach and become more interested, more available to teach, more awake. So that's where I am today, folks. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.